Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara, today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani by Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada will commence. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Hari Om. Last time, the verse number, shloka number 358, we had stopped. That is, Acharya is extensively dealing with that Samadhi Nirupana Tattva. That is, he is speaking about the Samadhi itself, details about that. We had stopped at 358. There is a small point here to just recapitulate, to reflect upon. Acharya gave an example of the metamorphosis of how a young larva, a worm, insect worm like silkworm moth or a butterfly, undergoes a pupal condition, pupation, and then it remains, stands still, covered by its own outer egg case or the shell, and then from then, after a specific time lapses, the cocoon or the pupa breaks open and a beautiful moth or a butterfly, flies out. So the transformation, how a larva, a worm, changes itself totally, total transformation into a beautiful adult animal called the fly, butterfly or moth or silkworm moth, whatever we take. That example Acharya was giving. And he was stressing on that point to the Uttam Adhikari, to the Shishya, that what happens during that period of pupation, during that period of metamorphosis. Acharya was talking on that in the last shloka, what was covered last. Dhyayan alitvam. Alitvam dhyayan alibhavam ruchyati. That worm constantly thinking, alitvam means thinking about itself, becoming a bee, becoming the adult fly. Alibhavam ruchyati, that is a key word. Dhyayan alitvam alibhavam ruchyati. By constant thinking, ultimately it will convert itself. Mahaswami, Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswami writes here as a commentary to this. See, this analogy we should consider at one particular level, where how the worm transforms itself into a new, beautiful, adult, morphologically different, enchanting butterfly or a moth, by constant reflecting and thinking, doing. That's what the point Acharya takes and tags on the point to the Vedantic spiritual practice itself. That is important. See, with this example, Acharya is stressing that by constant reflection, manana, sadakala manasalli, manana ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಗುರುಪದೇಶ ಶ್ರವಣದಿಂದ ಕೇಳಿದಂತಹ ಉಪದೇಶವನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಗುರುವಾಕ್ಯದಂತೆ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸೋದೇ ಆದರೆ ಗುರೂಪದೇಶದಂತೆ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಧ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಳುಗ್ತಾ ಹೋದಾಗ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾಗಿ ಏಕಾಗ್ರ ಚಿತ್ತತೆಯಿಂದ ಕೂತಾಗ, ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಭಾವದಿಂದ ಕೂತಾಗ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಉಂಟಾದಾಗ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸುಮುಹೂರ್ತದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮನ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ ತಾನಾಗಿಯೇ ಒಡಮೂಡುತ್ತದೆ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ತಥೈವ ಯೋಗಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವಂ ಧ್ಯಾತ್ವಾ ಸಮಾಯಾತಿ ತದೇಕ ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯ ಸಮಾಯಾತಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವಂ ಧ್ಯಾತ್ವಾ ಸಮಾಯ ತದೇಕನಿಷ್ಠೆಯ ಏಕನಿಷ್ಠೆ with one pointed concentration. That is the example last time discussed. Now, to elaborate further, ಇದೇ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಅರ್ಥವಾಗುವ ವಿವರಣೆ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವೇದಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮಾತು ಬಹಳ ಸುಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಾಕ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಯದ್ಭಾವಂ ತದ್ಭವತಿ. ನಾವು ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇವೋ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಯಾವ ಭಾವನೆ ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಭಾವನೆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ, ಆ ಭಾವನೆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಈ ಜೀವನದ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ನಡೀತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯದ್ಭಾವಂ ತದ್ಭವತಿ. ಬಹಳ ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಉಕ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ದ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ವೇದಾಂತ ಇಸ್ ಯದ್ಭಾವಂ ತದ್ಭವತಿ. So whatever in simple, whatever you constantly think, you become that one. Tad bhavam bhavati. Now, to understand this, it is not that easy. It is not that easy. If you simply think that I want to be rich, I want to become a super rich man, by just thinking, because somebody said yad bhavam tad bhavati, you will never become a rich millionaire the next day or the next month or the next year itself. The 4-point essence is that perseverance, one-pointed concentration, that determination is important. So with all the heavy odds in all our endeavors in life, if a one-pointed concentration is always there, if the goal is set in the mind, if the mind becomes geared up with total concentration, there is every possibility we reach the goal. Absolutely. That is the meaning behind the sukti called Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavati. To understand this further, we have to go back to Gita itself. See, there is an interesting correlation here. Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavati. And what Lord tells Arjuna in Gita, what Lord says. See, in the 8th chapter, Akshara Brahma Yoga. Now there are 2 continuous shlokas, 2 verses uttered by Lord himself. The 5th and the 6th in the 8th chapter, 5th and the 6th shloka, they go together. Now the interesting point, now let us just reverse that to understand it correctly. Let us see the 6th shloka of the 8th chapter first, and then the 5th shloka, preceding of the same chapter. What Paramatma, Lord Krishna Paramatma tells there in the 6th shloka. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam yajatyante kalevaram tam tamai vaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam yajatyante kalevaram tam tamai vaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. In simple terms, what he is talking here, what Lord is talking here. Thinking of whatever point, whatever feeling, whatever object, at the time of death, before leaving the body, before death occurs. At that moment, whatever is being thought, whatever feeling, whatever object is there in the mind constantly, that alone the individual will attain later. Tam tamaivaiti kaunta. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tyajatyante kalevar. So whatever he recollects at the time of death, that bhava, that feeling, that point, that mental set of thoughts, at the time of death will decide about the next birth, the next future, his development of such feelings. They will continue in the next birth. He will attain the same thing, the same bhava in the next birth. Now, let us come back to the fifth shloka of the same chapter. In the fifth shloka, what he says, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So, what Lord said in the beginning, whatever a person thinks of at the time of death, he will attain that. Now, what he is talking in the preceding shloka itself, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So, whoever thinks of me only, Arjuna, whoever thinks of me means whoever has reposed his mind on me only, on Lord only, on Bhagavanta only, on Paramatma only. So whoever thinks of Ishvara, God, at the time of death, he will attain me only. Yah prayati samadbhavam yati na asti tatra samshayah. There is no doubt, Arjuna, I am promising you, what I am telling is truth. If you think of me only at the time of death, constantly, your mind is geared up at the time of death, when all other functions are totally gone. You have become motionless. You are lying on the bed totally motionless, actionless, nishkriya and nischala on the bed, death bed. Usually nowadays, this happens either in ICU or in a special ward in a hospital. So, on the deathbed, what is the condition? Totally motionless, totally actionless, totally speechless. The person will not even recognize. All his faculties are gone. He will not open the eyes and see. He will not be hearing what you people are talking. Even if you touch his body, there is no response, no immediate response. That stimulus will not lead to any response. The skin has become inert. Any smell, he is not bothered. You want to feed him, he will not open the mouth. So all the sense organs have become nishkriya, actionless, functionless, and motionless. He is still. His body is still on the bed, deathbed. Eyes closed. Nothing will enter, but his mind is active. As Upanishads have declared very vehemently, the highest truth, what our Rishimunis have observed, the mind is always very active. The mind is always active on the deathbed. And a lot of things are happening ups and downs. Waves and waves of thoughts are coming. Marana shayಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯ ಹಾಸಿಗೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಲಗಿದಾಗ ನಿಷ್ಕ್ರಿಯನಾಗಿ ನಿಶ್ಚಲನಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಂವೇದನೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಮರಣ ಸನ್ನಿಧ ಆದಾಗ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉಸಿರು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಒಳ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆತನ ಒಳ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಪುಂಖಾನುಪುಂಖವಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತಹ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸಾವು ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನ ಕುರಿತೇ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಆತ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನ ಸೇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ, ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಭಾವ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುಮಾನವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಭಗವಂತ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋ ಮಾತು ಕೇಳಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ. ಅಂತಕಾಲೇಶ ಮಾಮೇವ ಸ್ಮರನ್ನುಕ್ವಾ ಕಲೇವರಂ ಯಃ ಪ್ರಯಾತಿ ಸಮದ್ಭಾವಂ ಯಾತಿ ನಾಸ್ತ್ಯತ್ರ ಸಂಶಯ. There is no doubt. He will reach me only. He will merge in me only. Now, what is the core point here? If you constantly think of me, if you contemplate on me, if you reflect upon me, if you always put your mind on towards God at the time of death, 100% you will reach him only. That is the hint Acharya is giving in this example. Kriyantarasaktim apasyati chako dhyayan alitvam alibhava murchati. By giving up all actions, the worm becomes totally motionless, actionless. It won't feed, it won't see. It is almost dead. It is covered by its own cocoon, egg case, and then remains, stands still in its own prison called the pupal case. It has created its own prison. It has become a prisoner in its own prison and remains there constantly thinking about the adult fly, and then it converts into adult. That is it. How nicely Acharya is bringing this example. Please, you have to tag on this. You have to go through what Lord says in Gita connected to this. So the 8th chapter, go through once again, please. The 5th and 6th, the two shlokas go together. They go together. Incidentally, small digression here. Last time, when the word Gita has come here, last time while talking, something flashed. I think I used the word Sthita Prajna, used by Lord himself, Krishna Paramatma himself in Gita. And then Arjuna asks him, my dear Sakha, Krishna, tell me, who is a Sthita Prajna? Who is called Sthita Prajna? How does he behave? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. So that's the question put by Arjuna. And then Lord goes on answering that about Sthita Prajna, the nature, attributes of a Sthita Prajna. Ultimately, Sthita Prajna means where the Prajna is Sthitaha. He is established in the total awareness of that Brahmakara Vritti. He is the Brahma Padartha itself. He has become. He is the absolute himself. He has realized himself. So he is a realized master called Sthita Prajna here by Lord in Bhagavad Gita. So I think I said the 2nd chapter, shloka number 26 onwards, the question and answers will come on Sthita Prajnata. So it is not the 26th shloka. One of my Guru Bandhus pointed out. From the 54th shloka onwards in the 2nd chapter, the detailed explanation on Sthita Prajna, who is a realized master, who is a Samadarshi, who is the Sthita Prajna, it will commence. Shloka number 54 onwards in 2nd chapter. Okay. Too much of digression. We'll come to the present. Today's shloka here. Ativa sokshmam paramatma tattvam na sthola drushtya pratipattumarhati samadhinatyanta susokshma vrutya jnatavyamaryai atishuddha buddhibihi. Ativa sokshmam paramatma tattvam na sthola drushtya pratipattumarhati samadhinatyanta susokshma vrutya jnatavyam aryai atishuddha buddhibihi. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಅರ್ಥಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಅನುಭವಿಸೋದು, ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರಗೊಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮತತ್ವ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದದ್ದು, ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮಾತಿ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದದ್ದು. ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಥೂಲ ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳದ ಹಾಗೆ ವಿಷಯೀಕರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಕೇವಲ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪರಮ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಉಳ್ಳವರು, ಸತ್ವಗುಣವನ್ನೂ ದಾಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವಿಶುದ್ಧ ಸತ್ವ ಹೊಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಅತಿ ಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಉಳ್ಳ ಆರ್ಯರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ವಚನಗಳ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಡೆಯತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು, ಅದನ್ನು ಅನುಸರಿಸತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಶ್ರುತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಮಾರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುವವರಿಗೆ ಆರ್ಯರು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂತಹ ಆರ್ಯರು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ವೃತ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಮಾಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಇದು ಅತೀವ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮಂ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವಂ ನ ಸ್ಥೂಲ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ಪ್ರತಿಪತ್ತುಮರ್ಹತಿ. See this truth, this real absolute truth, this Brahma Tattva or this Atma Tattva, or as called self, capital S, this Tattva of Antaryami, it is so subtle, it is subtlest. It cannot be understood. It cannot be understood, deciphered by our mind and buddhi or intellect, by superficial observation, by the superficial mind, by reading book, by reading Vedanta. The mind thinks that it is understood. No, this superficial mind cannot understand the subtlest aspect of Brahma Tattva. Only in samadhi state, in the deep meditative state, Acharya says here, in the deep meditative state, only in samadhi, with that proper subtlest mental condition, with that susukshma vruttya aryai atishuddha buddhibihi. See, it can be understood only by such a highly qualified, highly spiritual, who has transgressed with all the Viveka, he has developed the Vairagya, that renunciation, and who has gone deep into the meditation. Only by such a person, Jnatavim Aryai Atishuddha Buddhivihi, with a pure intellect, purest of the pure intellect, with Vishuddha Sattva Guna, transcending even the Sattva Guna, going beyond Sattva Guna. Of course, already he has crossed over Tamo Guna and Rajo Guna. Even now the Sattva Guna, going beyond that. So it is called Atishuddha Buddhivihi. A person with such a mentality, only he will experience, he will become one with that Brahma Vastu, that Atma Tattva, that principle in the deep samadhi. Samadhina atyanta susukshma vruttya jnatavyam aryaihi atishuddha buddhi. It is so subtle. Simply it cannot be understood by the superficial mind. Na sthula drishtya pratipattum arhati. It cannot be understood by the outer mind, outer intellect. No. The truth can be realized, the absolute truth can be experienced only by such great personages. Arya means the great people who have followed the path shown by the Upanishads and Smriti, like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavat. They are called Aryai here. So such great personages, such great people, only in Samadhi they will understand. They realize the truth. Here, Mahaswami, Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal, in his Bhashyam on this shloka, now he quotes again Kathopanishad here. Mahaswami writes, Drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi. That is the Mahavakya in Kathopanishad. Drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi. It means it is seen as the truth, the absolute truth. It is seen by the seers. Seers means the jnanis. It is seen by the seers means only the jnanis can perceive the truth, the subtle most of their finest intellect during samadhi. Only the jnanis will perceive the reality or the truth in their subtle most, in their finest intellect during the samadhi state. That's the point here. What Kathopanishad says. And Mahaswami continues to write here, Jnanam utpadyate pumsam kshayat papasya karmanaha. Jnanam utpadyate pumsam kshayat papasya karmanaha. That means what? Mahaswami writes, Jnana arises in men of virtue by the extinction of sinful karma, papa karma, sinful deeds, evil deeds. By the extinction of cessation of all evil deeds, papa karmas, sinful deeds, what happens? Jnana arises in the men of virtue. In such people, highly qualified mumukshus, jijnasus, sadhakas, who have followed all the injunctions of the Sadguru, who have treaded in the path of Shruti and Smruti. It will arise by the virtue of, by the extinction of the evil karma. Jnanam utpadyate pumsam kshayat papasya karmana. When the papa karmas are totally gone, when they are extinguished, when they are erased, jnana will arise, jnana will die. Then Acharya Mahaswami further writes in his commentary on this shloka. Finally, Mahaswami says, Kashaye karmabhihi pakve tato jnanam pravartate. Kashaye karmabhihi pakve tato jnanam pravartate. So when all the actions, karmas come to a knot, when the sadhaka reaches the state of nishkama karma, when the sadhaka arrives at the state of nishkama karma, when no more he identifies himself with the body, no more he thinks he is the doer of any karma. Neither he is a doer, nor he is the enjoyer of the results of the karma, fruits of the karma. So then what happens? The jnana, by virtue, kashaye karmabhihi pakve, tato jnanam pravartate. Then the jnana will dawn automatically. So these are the points to remember here. But this shloka. That is why Acharya says, Ativa sukshmam paramatma tattvam na stula drushtiya pratipattum arhati. It's Ativa sukshmam, the subtlest. It is simply you cannot discern, decipher, understand and know and say that I know the Brahma Tattva, I know the principle, I know the God. No, it is not so easy. That is the point. For that, Acharya in the next shloka gives a beautiful example, a common example all of us we know, a common example given in the Vedanta. Yatha suvarnam putapakashodhitam yaktva malam swatma gunam samruchyati tatha manasatvarajastamo malam jnanena santyajya sameti tattvam. Yatha suvarnam putapakashodhitam tyaktva malam swatma gunam samruchyati tatha mana satvarajastamo malam jnanena santyajya sameti tattvam. Jnanena santyajya sameti tattvam. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕುಲುಮೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ ಚಿನ್ನದ ಗಟ್ಟಿಗಳನ್ನು ಅದುರುಗಳನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುದಿಸ್ತಾ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಶಾಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋದಷ್ಟು ಆ ಮೊದಲಿನ ರೂಪ ಕಶ್ಮಗಳು ಸೇರಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಚಿನ್ನದ ಅದಿರು ತನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಶ್ಮಲಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಪುಟಪಾಕ ಇಟ್ಟಷ್ಟು ಬೆಂಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಯಿಸಿದಷ್ಟು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ಚಿನ್ನ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಬಂಗಾರ, ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ಚಿನ್ನ. ನಾವೇನು 24 ಕ್ಯಾರೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತಹ ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ಕಾಂತಿಯುಕ್ತವಾದ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಾಯಿಸಿದಷ್ಟು, ಬೆಂಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಟ್ಟಷ್ಟು ಅದು ಪರಿಪಾಕ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತದೆ, ತನ್ನ ಕೊಳೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಸತ್ವ, ತಮ ಮತ್ತು ರಜ, ಈ ಮೂರು ಗುಣಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಆಟ ಆಡಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಮಾಯೆಯ 3 ಗುಣಗಳು. ಈ 3 ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಗ, ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧ ಹೊಂದಿದಾಗ, ತಮೋಗುಣ, ರಜೋಗುಣ ಮತ್ತು ಸತ್ವಗುಣ, ಈ 3 ಗುಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಅತೀತವಾದಾಗ ಆಗ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪರಿಶುಭ್ರವಾಯಿತು, ವಿಶುದ್ಧವಾಯಿತು, ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಗುಣಗಳಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ, ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾಗಿ, ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತಹ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಈ 3 ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನು ದಾಟೋದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಆಳವಾದ ಧ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆದಾಗ, ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಸಮೇತಿ ತತ್ವನ್, ಆಗ ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತತ್ವ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಸ್ಫುಟವಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ 3 ಗುಣಗಳಿಂದ ಹೊರತಾದಾಗ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧವಾದಾಗ, ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಭಾವ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತದೆ, ಪ್ರಕಾಶಮಾನವಾಗುತ್ತದೆ, ಬೆಳಗುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಆಸ್ the golden ore has completely heated and reheated in the furnace, what happens? It goes on giving up all the impurities attached to the gold. Originally it was a golden ore. So as further heating continues, higher temperature, with a higher degree of temperature, it becomes almost like a lava, and then it melts, the ore melts, impurities are gone in the process. So ultimately, by further melting, by further heating constantly, finally the lustrous, shining, golden yellow, pure gold appears from the original impure gold ore. Correct? That example, just like that. So by constant heating, as the gold gives out its impurities and shines brilliantly with a lustrous golden yellow shining, so too the mind, by discarding the 3 major impurities, by discarding 3 impurities in the mind, tamoguna, rajoguna and sattva-guna, the 3 gunas, these 3 attributes, if they are discarded by the mind, finally the mind becomes purest to the pure in samadhi, then it is ready to receive the jnana. Then it is ready to receive the truth. Then it is eligible to become the truth itself. The mind will totally subside with the purest of the pure form. There is a transformation. The ego goes away, ahankara goes away, everything will go away. All the gunas are, they are given up. Then the mind attains the real. Sameti tattvam. So here, what Acharya Mahaswami here again writes the commentary on this. See, our Gurudev used to call, he always used to use the word sopanakrama. Sopanakrama. What is sopanakrama? Stepwise elevation, spiritual elevation. Stepwise spiritual elevation during sadhana, during the spiritual practice. All of us may not reach to the highest step at the top level immediately. Step by step, we have to climb the ladder of success in this spiritual sadhana. That is called Sopana Krama. So here, as our Gurudev used to point out, see, Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattva Guna. What is Tamoguna? These three gunas, these three attributes are nothing but the interplay of Maya itself. Remember again what Lord tells in Bhagavad Gita. Daivi Heshya Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi. See, this Maya, which cannot be crossed over by ordinary mortals, this Maya of mine, Lord says in Gita, this Maya, this Yoga Maya, this Vaishnavi Maya, this Maya Shakti, people cannot cross over because Esha Gunamayi Daivi. This Maya is composed of, it is actually, this is nothing but culmination. It is a combination of three gunas. That is how the Maya controls the entire cosmic, this universal life. We are all bound by this Maya, the three gunas, interplay of the three gunas, Tama, Raja, and Sattva. So, what is Tamas? What is Tamas? Tamas generally means, inert, inertia, sloth behavior, total laziness. If you have seen the animal called sloth in the deep forests, especially, may not be found in Indian outer forest. We have to go to very deep. The sloth is an animal, a mammal, which is always inert, just like the python. Once it has, taken a good feed, python will never move. Python will remain on the same position for months together without even movement. So that is inert. So tamas means inertia, basic inertia, laziness. Total laziness. For any work, the mind is not geared up. See, the person always, in simple our language to say, the person is totally inactive. Most of the time he is at home. Most of the time he prefers to be on the bed, either on the couch. Most of the time he loves to sit and watch the TV or any entertainment program on the mobile or on the laptop or while sleeping on the couch, eating and sleeping, no physical movement much, no exercise much, no getting up early, not going out early, postponing all the work for tomorrow. The feeling of let me do it tomorrow. That means totally inactive, mentally inactive. That is laziness, inactivity, deep slumber type nature. He's always sleepy in the sense he's not bothered. There is no planning in life at all. Everything absolutely taken in his own stride. Total laziness, in other words. And full of ajnana. Deep ignorance. Total ignorance. So that is the nature, attributes of tamas. So most of us you encounter in your daily life. Observe. You know yourself who are influenced more by tamas. So such people are more prominently called tamogunis. Tamogunis. You can observe in your kids and kins, in your relations, in your friend circle, in your colleagues, in the office, along with in your friend circle, wherever you go, you can observe there are set of people who are called tamoguni. The tamas is predominant in their life. See, this attribute is so predominant. Always they are lazy. They come late for the work. They come late for the school. nothing moves them. Even if you scold them 100 times, nothing will move because their mindset has become like that. Who has to wake them up? They have to wake themselves up. Unless they are determined, a tamoguni, a person who is more influenced by tamas, will remain as a tamoguni throughout the life. Nobody can help. Even God cannot help. See, that is a very prominent nature. What is then rajas? Rajas means totally active. Totally active. We say some people cannot sit even for 10 minutes on a chair. We have seen in your friend circle, observe. In your colleagues, observe. In your relatives, observe. In the people who have acquainted in your life, you observe. There are people who are very active. Most of them are active, of course. There are some super active. Always they are on the move, aggressive, active, aggressive, active. They're full of actions. They have a lot of plans in their mind. Their mind is full of plans. So much planning. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. After this, I must do that. So, hello.
Apologies, sir. There was
Yeah,
some drop in
yeah,
internet connection.
yeah, I know. So, there are people who are always active. We have seen always active, always active. They're aggressive, active, always planning properly, and they all sometimes they become restless when things do not happen according to their way. Everything spick and span. They're always doing, and they have a lot of ambitions. They have a lot of expectations in life. They love the life, and they have a lot of desires. To fulfill their ambition, to fulfill their desire, they work, and they work. They work, and work constantly. So that is the nature of Rajoguna. So such people are called Rajogunis. Then there is Sattva Guna. What is Sattva Guna? Sattva Guna is basically, law abiding. People who follow the rules of their dharma, Sanatana Dharma. They are more dharmic. They are deeply religious. They are more God fearing. They are oriented towards usually worshipping, oriented towards dhyana and japa and the upasana. See, they are more God fearing. They practice truthfulness. They practice paropakara, service to the others, as much as possible. They keep all positive attitudes in their life. They want to keep their mind free of lust. See, these are all attributes of Sattva Guna. In simple, they are deeply religious. They don't hurt anybody. They are not jealous of anyone. See, that is Sattva predominant. Sattva Guna. Very few people you encounter like that. Pure people, as we call it. How nice they are, how gentlemanly they are. See, look at them. It feels so pleasurable to move in their company because they radiate always happiness in their presence. Everyone loves their company. Nobody hates them. Normal, general. Everybody loves. See, they are Sattva Gunis. See, these three gunas are always there in every individual in a different proportion. At different levels, each guna will express itself at a higher level or at a lower level, the percentage. So the human mind is always influenced by the interplay of these three guna. These three guna. So what Acharya says here, Tatha mana sattva-rajas-tamomalam dhyanena santyajya sameti tattvam. So when the mind discards the impurities like Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and also Sattva-guna, then in a deep meditation, in Samadhi, it will experience that truth. It will attain that Brahma. It will attain the truth. It will realize its true potential. It will realize the self. That's what Acharya is talking here. Now, Mahaswami writes on this. Transcending all the three gunas means you have to become gunatit. You have to go beyond tamoguna. Understandable. You have to go beyond rajoguna. Understandable. And even you have to go beyond sattva-guna. Beyond sattva-guna. Even the sattva-guna is supposed to be the pure. Here, Sopanakrama. See why? See, sattva-guna is the highest form of the mental state. Most of us, we are entangled in either tamoguna or rajoguna influences. So there, the Vedanta is very clear. It says, now give up your tamoguna attitudes, give up your tamas attitude, give up your aggressive rajas attitude, establish yourself in sattva. Establish yourself in sattva. That will take you towards God. That's what Vedanta says. And finally, when you come deeper, in deeper analysis, if you go further, if you remain only in sattva also, it is not enough. You have to transcend. You have to go beyond that sattva. You have to go beyond that sattva. Mahaswami writes here, Ashram to this shloka number 360, what Mahaswami writes. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Mahaswami writes, Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Trayunya Vishaya Veda Nistrayunyo Bhavarjuna. Look, Arjuna, the Vedas, the four Vedas, are full of the importance of the attributes of Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattvaguna. Trigunya. What is tri? Sattva, Raja, Tama. The Veda full of injunctions covering the aspects of the three gunas, importance of these three gunas. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. So you go beyond the three gunas, Arjuna. You transgress. ಭಗವಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೇದಗಳ ಕರ್ಮಕಾಂಡದಲ್ಲಿ 90 ಭಾಗ ವೇದಗಳು ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಉಪಾಸನಾ ವಿಧಿಗಳೇನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಮಕಾಂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮೂರು ಗುಣಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆಯೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮಾತು. ಸತ್ವಗುಣ, ರಜೋಗುಣ, ತಮೋಗುಣ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ, ನೀನು ನಿಜವಾಗಿಯೂ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮೂರು ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನು ದಾಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ. ನಿಸ್ತ್ರೈಗುಣ್ಯೋ ಭವಾರ್ಜುನ. ಈ ಮೂರು ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನು ದಾಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಸತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮೀರಿ ನೀನು ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಭಗವಂತನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಸತ್ವಗುಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಾಪಿತನಾಗೋದೇ ಕಷ್ಟ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಲ್ಲೋ 10 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ಪ್ರಧಾನರಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಾತ್ವಿಕ ವೃತ್ತಿಲಿರೋರು ಸತ್ವಗುಣಿಗಳು. ಪರೋಪಕಾರ, ಸೇವೆ, ತಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ ಪರಿಪಾಲನೆ, ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈರ್ಷ್ಯೆ ಆಗಲಿ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚಾಗಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಸಂತೃಪ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಬಂದದ್ದನ್ನು ಬಂದ ಹಾಗೆ ಸ್ವೀಕಾರ ಮಾಡೋರು ಸತ್ವಗುಣಿಗಳು. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು, ಉಪಾಸನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಸತ್ವಗುಣಿಗಳು. ಸೊ ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದೇ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಬಹಳ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಹಾಗಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗೋದು ಸುಲಭ. ಹಾಗೆ ಸತ್ವಗುಣವನ್ನು ಬಿಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಮಹಾಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಮಹಾಸ್ವಾಮಿ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, even you have to transcend sattva-guna, though it is adorable. Very few people establish themselves in sattva-guna, pure sattva-guna. Very few people. It's adorable. it is desirable all the time because majority are influenced by tamoguna and rajoguna, tamas and rajas. So it is really advantageous to be in sattva guna. But even this sattva guna, this sattvic nature comes in the realm of maya, comes in the realm of mithya. It is unreal. This sattva guna also is the result of your subtle ego, ahankara. Your doership is there. Maya is there. Mithya, the world appears real. So then you feel that let me do service to others. Let me help others. I want to be happy. I want to praise Lord. Let me always recite stotra. Let me do this. Let me not harm anybody. Let me always never tell a lie. I derive pleasure in helping others. I derive pleasure in reciting stotra, hymns about God. I derive pleasure in doing puja and worshipping God every day, morning, evening, afternoon. I always derive pleasure in doing bhajan. I derive pleasure in doing kirtana. See, they're all nothing but influenced with sattva guna, no doubt. But here imagine why Mahaswami says, even this sattva guna is in the realm of maya, realm of mithya, unreal world. The waking world itself is unreal. So for everything the eye is tagged on. You feel happy, you feel satisfied, you feel, you enjoy doing so many good works, beneficial works, positive works. Who is enjoying? You means your ego, your body consciousness, sharirabhimana. I want to be happy. So let me do this puja. So who is this I? You are consciously referring to your body. You are identifying with the body. So in the pure essence of Vedanta, in the highest Advaitic sense, what it means? What it means? Sattva guna is also in the realm of maya or mithya. So in essence, this in a duality state the mind is behaving, it has to be crossed over. It has to be crossed over. You have to remain a pure witness without ascribing anything that you are the doer, without even feeling that you have done something, so that you are very happy because of the good deed. You are very happy because of the service you have rendered. You have to go beyond that. You have to remain pure witness. Difficult to follow, difficult to understand what Mahaswami says. All Mahatmas. So that is why the three gunas, tamoguna, rajoguna, sattva-guna, they bind our mind. So they bind our mind because they're all in the realm of maya or in unreal world. The world appears real to us, and our actions are controlled by these three gunas. Our mental activities, thoughts, and our physical actions are all guided by the three gunas, influence of the three gunas. When you go beyond even sattva guna, ultimately you become gunatit. Then you remain as a pure witness. When you cross over tamoguna, rajoguna, and sattva guna, means you are no more identifying with the body. You are no more identifying with your sharirabhimana. You are no more identifying with your mind, buddhi, indriyas, and body. No more you say, I am the doer. No more you will say, by doing this work, I am very happy. No more you will say, by doing this work, I am unhappy. For everything, you become a pure witness without identifying yourself, without doing any karma mentally, without associating with any activity. You remain nisanga, totally. Without any association, you remain a pure witness. That's what Mahaswami writes. That is how, when tatha mana sattva rajas tamo malam dhyanena santyajya. So in the deep meditation, when you give up all the three gunas, Sameti Tattvam. Then only you will Sameti Tattvam. You attain the reality. Means the reality will dawn. Reality will dawn. And Mahaswami further quotes in his Bhashyam on this shloka. Tatha manasatva rajastamo malam dhyanena santyajya sameti tattvam, Acharya says. For that again, further he quotes. Mahaswami says further. He quotes Sri Gaudapadacharya. Gaudapadacharya is the guru of Sri Govinda Bhagavatpada, who in turn is the guru of Adi Shankara. So Gaudapadacharya is the Parama Guru of Sri Adi Shankara, Shankara Bhagavatpada. So Mahaswami quotes Gaudapadacharya. One of his karikas, Gaudapadacharya says, Naswadayet rasam tatra nissangaha prajnaya bhave. Na aswadayet tatra rasam nissangaha prajnaya bhave. So there, when you reach the final beatification, at the time of realization of Brahma, at the time of really realizing your true identity, one should not taste any essence. Rasa means any essence of, sukha, pleasure. One should not taste any ananda or any sukha. Rasa means any type of sukha or ananda. One should not taste any essence. There, one should remain in one's pure consciousness, prajna, absolutely unattached. Nissangaha prajnaya bhave. Na aswadayet rasam tatra. A jnani, once a jnana dawns in, tatra means at the time of realization, jnanotpatti aguva samaya ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ? ನ aswadayet rasam tatra nissangaha prajnaya bhavet. So he remains in his pure form of awareness, chit, pure form of bliss. He himself will become the ocean of bliss. So where is the question of rasa? When he himself is a big ocean of Brahmananda, there is no question of he experiencing in rasa or essence of taste of any sukha. And he remains nissangaha. He is not identified with any actions or with the world. He remains totally a pure witness, purest of the pure witness. So, prajnaya bhave. He remains in his pure consciousness state completely. It means even tasting of pure rasa, sattvic ananda, should be given up. So, Mahaswami says, even you have to cross over sattva guna, means you have to cross over the pure rasa or ananda, sattvic ananda, that is due to your identifying with the body and mind complex. Even that has to be given. So finally, what happens at the time of realization? Finally, what happens? Mahaswami further writes here, Bhuyaschante Vishwamaya Nivrittihi. Bhuyascha ante Vishwamaya Nivrittihi. Only at the end there will arise a cessation of or disappearance of cosmic Maya. Only then, at the end, there will arise the disappearance of the cosmic Maya when you become Gunati. So, in the deep meditative state of Samadhi, when Atman is realized, you became perfectly Gunatita. And the effect of Maya is cut. That is what Mahaswami writes here. Bhuyaschante Vishwamaya Nivrittihi. The Maya no more will trouble such a jnani. No more it will trouble such a jnani. So, by the God's Guru Sankalpa, we stop here today at the shloka number 360. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om Tat. Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwara.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Beautiful, sir. Thank you so much. It's all coming together so nicely. Hari Om. Hari Om.
God's grace, Guru's. So next Saturday.
Yes, sir. Next Saturday.
Okay, we hope. Hope to meet. Hari Om.
Yes.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Everything else in the universe permitting.